Hello, I'm Lily. I'm a designer for theatre. I do costume and set, and today I'm going to take you through how to start working on costume designs, set designs, and model box making for Crongton Nights. The first exercise is character analysis, response, and mood board. The second exercise is to how to develop these ideas into a costume design, and then using these skills that we've learned with the mood boards in the first exercise. We're going to move on to exercise 3, which is intro into set design and model making. I've tried to make the practical exercise bits quite quick, so it is quite a lot of talking, but you can pause things whilst you go and get your bits, cardboard, scissors, paper, etc., and then skip through to the information that you actually need. So when creating your costume design or character design, the first thing to do is, after you've chosen your character, is go through the script, highlighting anything in there that says anything about the character, what they look like, how other people perceive them, any kind of distinguishing features. So I've gone through and I've done Bush Kid. I've highlighted in pink everything that I think might be relevant later on when starting to analyse this character. Even kind of the first line that she says, "Just call me Bushy, I'm not from round here," that's kind of already suggesting that she's slightly different from the others, which immediately, when you're doing a costume design, you'd want that sort of information to be very, very clear straight away. Other things, as well as highlighting, I've done little kind of notes to remind myself what I've been thinking. On this page, 39 and 40, there's a few good examples. Bush Kid says, "Me and my steed," referring to her bike, sort of suggests her putting a bit of adventurous spin on things. And then later on, V calls her, says, "What's that bushy-haired weirdo doing now?" Which is quite a derogatory statement, sort of again referencing her being a bit of an outsider and different. So they're quite kind of key bits of information that you'd want to highlight if you were thinking about what someone might look like. So I've carried on going through all the way through the script, doing the same thing all the way to the end. You can create a mood board in lots and lots of different ways. It's essentially just a visual representation of all of those ideas that you've had about the character before. So using any of these kind of key words that you've pulled out of the script in your mind back. It's nice to use lots of different medium, but you can use whatever you can get your hands on, or however you best like to work. So you can use internet, Google Images, you can look through Pinterest, create a Pinterest board, photographs that you have at home, family photographs that you might take of somebody in the park that you think looks like your character. Obviously do that subtly or with permission. Look through magazines, newspapers, cutting things out. You can look through your social media platforms if you know somebody that you think, oh, that really reminds me of maybe how she'd have her hair. If there are elements that you can't find an image of and you just want to sketch it, so if you had you thought, oh, somebody might have a pair of jeans with patches on, but you can't actually find a picture on the internet of what that might be. You can do a little sketch of that and then add that, and you're kind of layering up all of these ideas, so that when you look at it, you've got a really lovely picture mind map, I suppose. You can find anything with pictures, textures that you like. Maybe there's a particular green on a cereal box that you think that would be a perfect colour for a t-shirt. Clothes references that you have already. You've got a hoodie that you think would be perfect. Take a picture of that, print it out, stick it on. If you haven't got printers, it's going to be more sketching. The other thing that you can do is you can do these on your computer and not print them out, but it means that you don't have as many different kind of textures if you want to be working with any sort of fabrics or interesting materials that you found. So here's my very, very quick mood board for Bush Kid. We've got a girl that is quite tomboyish, maybe a little bit nerdy, in a kind of cool way. We've got a hoodie, we've got a school uniform. So one of the things that they talk about quite a lot is her sneaking up and appearing from nowhere. So you might think that black would be a good colour for her clothes, so that she can creep about in the dark. But if you imagine, if you're working with in a theatre production with low lighting anyway, even if you want someone to be quite shady and sometimes hard to see, it's often good to have pops of colour within there. So I would probably prefer to go for something like a camo if she had a hoodie, or a cap with that sort of print, so that we can actually see her, but it looks like it's something that would want to be hiding. She's perceived to be quite sensible, I think, in the show, so I would also be tempted to add little hints of bicycle safety wear somewhere in there, even if it was just little clips on her ankles, or even a stripe down the side of the hoodie or something that gives that sort of reflective quality. As well, when you're working with light, stuff like that can be really helpful because it can make people really stand out. So this, I've directly kind of gone from my mind map to my mood board, which now puts me in quite a good place to start my actual costume design. So you do want to make it as realistic as possible. I'm going to quickly sketch through a costume design based on this mood board to give you an idea of how this then translates into a costume design. So I'll do this really quickly, you skip forward to do whatever you want. I'm not going to colour this in, but when you're doing it at home, you can either use crayons or pencils or chalks, or even use collage with bits of cardboard, different various papers, things like that. So whatever you have, whatever's your favourite medium to work with. So this is a very, very quick costume design sketch, but it's bringing together the ideas that I'd had in my mood board. So we've got something dark to cover her face while she's in the shadows, which is a black baseball cap. We've got the school uniform. We've got a camo hoodie, which is what we were thinking about earlier on here. I've given her quite an oversized baggy trouser and school blazer to create that kind of tomboyish feel that we'd discussed earlier. I've also added very little notes, kind of explicitly saying that as well, just in case when someone's looking at this and you're not there to explain, it just makes it a little bit clearer. So yeah, you'd then go and do that for all of the characters within the piece, but it's easiest usually to do one by one, and then once you've got them all, you bring them all together, lay them up against each other, make edits, adapt everything nicely so that it is all nice and cohesive, as if it's all from one show. You haven't got too many characters in one colour, or you've got somebody standing out too much when you want someone else to stand out too much. But for your initial character design, costume design, this would be... I'm briefly going to take you through how to start your set design and model box as well. I'll probably have to start you off, and then you can kind of carry on with your more refined designs. You're going to start in the same way really as the costume, but instead of going through and highlighting for one character, you're going to want to go through with a different pen and start highlighting anything that is talking about their environment or the location. So here is the police station, for example. You're going to have to highlight all of the locations in the script, and then it's easiest to kind of write them down. So on here in red, you've got all of the different locations that we go to in the script, and then next to them there's some little notes of things. So for example, we've got the streets, so I've kind of picked out things that we need to have, so windows, street lamps, doors, things like that. You know, Sergio's flat, it needs a door, it needs stairs. McKay's house, he talks about the kitchen. The garages need to be dark, they're dirty, there's a sofa. And then also adding sort of how these things make you feel, the atmosphere of them. So say the Notre Dame estate feels kind of tall, dark, intimidating and looming. So these are all things that you would be thinking about with the set. Once you've done this, you can kind of focus on whether or not you're going to need sort of flashy lights, haze, smoke. So when we're in the rave, maybe that's where we'd want a smoke machine or strobe lights or things like that. So once you've jotted it all down, it's kind of clearer to see. In this show, because there's lots of movement, it's an adventure story essentially going through various different places. You'd probably want to keep each of your locations quite simple, because they don't stay in any of these places for a very long time. So my gut response to this sort of play would be to keep everything very sort of simplistic, and then utilise lights as where possible to create the different locations, so that you haven't got a big hefty set that needs constantly changing, because the likelihood is you don't have the space or the money or the time to be making these huge transitions. But once you've got the locations written down, that's when, if you start making your model box, you can then make your little mini characters, and you can walk them through your set and see how it would work. Where would they enter from? Where would they exit from? For this scene, do we need something to hide behind? Do we need something to jump off of? Do we need a door to go through? Do we need a window to smash? All of those sorts of things. So once you've got all of your locations written down, like we've done before, in the exact same way we're going to do a mood board. So I've collected lots of images of sort of the stairs, estates, some nice sort of skyline colours. These sorts of reflective things reminded me of the sort of lights that you get in London. I've got some smashed glass over here, which is old CDs that have been cut up, because I think that would be a nice effect that you could have within the set. Lots of it's quite angular and boxy, I've noticed, when collecting images, pillars, stairs. So all of these kind of images, once put together, you can see the sort of ideas that you could have for your set. You know, you've got the bus stop, but it's very simple. It's just a stand with a light, and actually even the taxi rank is quite similar. So from this kind of mood board, I already feel that actually maybe it's something quite simple with some boxes, some windows, some door frames that can all be kind of utilised and moved around in different ways. Maybe there's some smashed glass up in one place, maybe there's something reflective, maybe a reflective shutter that you can shine different kind of lights on to make different to make it feel like different places. Bars for doors with security and stuff. So I'm going to translate this a little bit into a model box, and then you can see maybe, do we only need one door and we can move that around, or do we need 5 doors, or which way around? So then you can, once you've got some of these pieces that you can use as models, you can play around and see how your set is going to work. For my model box, I've collected up various things that I found around the house, cardboard, even old packing cardboard. You're definitely going to need a ruler, scissors, glue or double-sided tape. Any interesting things that you can find. Like I said earlier, these sort of old CDs that I've cut up to make nice different textures. Maybe some things like bubble wrap might be useful. I found this mesh that's quite good. Kitchen foil maybe could be used as windows. Toothpicks, these you could probably find in the kitchen, are good for structural stuff. And the other thing that's quite good is those little wooden stirrers that you get in Starbucks or something. So for your base, you would usually use foam board, which is like this. If you don't have any of this, which you probably won't because it's quite specialised stuff, just use the thickest sort of cardboard that you have, or you could use an old shoebox or something for your base. Scale in a set model box is quite important, and we would usually use these scale rulers, and the standardised scale for a theatre set is 1 to 25, which is this measurement down here. So 2 metres is about this much, which would mean a human is about between 1.7 and 1.8. So your person is about this size. If you don't have a scale ruler, which is completely fine, I would then use a normal ruler and I would kind of make up my own scale which is similar to that, which would be 10 centimetres equals 2 metres. So then you've got 5 centimetres is equal to 1 metre. So that when you're building your walls, a standardised flat, which you would usually use in a theatre, which are the wooden walls, standard flat is 2.4. So you'd then be at 12 centimetres for that, which is quite a good height really for you working with. And I would go with that as your sort of flat sizes, just because they're quite easy to manoeuvre. And then your doors are a little bit smaller than that. They'd probably be up to 9 centimetres. So you're working at quite a good size. So I'm going to quickly make a black back wall with some black flooring, which is going up to about 3 metres height, which is a good height really, which is lower than most lighting rigs. So I'll stick this down with some hot glue to create this back. What I've done to, instead of having to paint up lots of backdrop, some of the spare images that I had from the mood board I've just stuck onto another back wall, so that we can already very quickly have a kind of quite a nice backdrop, which I was thinking with a show like this, probably projection would be really useful on quite a plain background, because you've got so much movement. The simpler the set, the easier probably it is to represent all of these different locations. So here we are, we've got a very simple backdrop to our set. We can start adding in maybe some freestanding walls or some doorways and arches and things, bus stops and stuff. I'm doing this so quickly, by the way, so I apologise if it's going to get rubbish. So here was this nice great stuff that I found that was quite good. So this could be an area in one of the estates that gets hidden behind, can become a bit of a shop front or something. (1 to 25) scale is this side. So let's make some walls. We'll go to 2.4 height, and then they're 1.2 metres wide usually. So there we have that would be one of those standardised flats here. So I'm going to make a few of these in a row that we can stick about to maybe create some housing structures that you could then put some doors in. So I'm going to make 2 of these that would represent 2 different buildings, each one with a door in and one with a window, so that we can then have a little look when you're going through to see, do I then need another door, or do I then need another window, or is this sort of suffice? So let's say you can do these things so simply and easy. Here we've already got, just cut a little door like this. There we go. And then we can stick, so there's one, and then let's do one with a window. So I'm literally just cutting a little hole in here. So we've got a little thing with a window and a little thing with a door. Oh, upside down. There you go. So we've made those. The other thing that they talk about is some steps. So let's just make to make some steps. You would measure them very carefully. So you could Google what sort of size is a step, and then you convert that into your scale. I think it's something like 25 centimetres, so you'd have to work that out. But for the purpose of this video, we'll just do it very quickly so that we can see if we need some steps and how they would be in the space. So that's quite a nice step size. So we'd want something, maybe use some of this thicker cardboard to make a back for them so that we can make them stand up. And then we have some steps. So now we have steps, a door front and a window front. So let's go back into our little set here and go, okay, so let's imagine we've got some steps going up here, and then we have let's do them going like that, that's quite nice. And then we've got a window here, one of the buildings here, and then we've got another door here. So then what you do is you go through your script, go through your movement, go through with your characters, say, okay, what else do we need? Well, we know that there is a bus stop. Oh, I've got a lollipop stick here, that's convenient. So maybe we then put a bus stop somewhere over here. And then we can go, okay, so we have quite a lot of action happening around the bus stop, so that now we're in our model box. Ooh. Now we're in our model box, we're going to know that we're going to want a light around there. So that can be then, once you've decided on your set, communicated with your lighting designer. Okay. So then we think, okay, we've got a bus. How would we do that? Are we going to build a bus, or are we going to just manipulate something within this? Maybe it's actually just the staircase moving. Can that move around? Can we flip something on its edge? Do we need another structure in here? So once you've got your cardboard, your scissors, your glue, and your ruler, I think it's just a case of playing with different shapes, playing with different spaces. You know, we've got these glass things. Are we gonna then glue these around here to make them into a smashed window? If that's the case, do we then want another window that actually gets used? Is this just now going to be some sort of nice set decoration somewhere else that doesn't get used? Does it go in here? You know, you're just messing around and playing, and then once you're fixed on an idea, that's when you can glue everything down, paint it, add textures. You can do things like use kitchen roll. If you wanted maybe a carpet or if you wanted something to look old, you can rip things up and shred it and paste it onto stuff, and then once you paint over that, it will look really tatty. So there's lots and lots of things to do. You can find lots of YouTube tutorials and things on how to make model boxes, but I thought I'd just give you a quick intro into do that so that you can see how you go from your script analysis, that you then go to your mood boards, you then go to your designs, and then finally you go into your spatial designs with your model box. So yeah. Also, if you'd like to share any of your materials in any form, written, videos, pictures, etc., you can share it on social media and tag Y&T on there, which is detailed in the comments box below, and use the hashtag CK Festivals.